You ready?
Yeah.
All right.
What's that in a hot mic? What's that in a hot mic? What's that in a hot mic? It's Billy and Sheba.
Hot mic.
We're so cute. Damn. Love that couple. They're so sexy. Yes. We're so perfect. Billy's the
Yo, we missed. Yeah. No, we crushing it too. Yo, we missed the first. Remember the first one you were doing, and then the mic wasn't on. So you actually freaking did that seconds later.
I was like, we don't do 2 takes. We just do something different the next time.
And it was fantastic. Yeah, it was a different thing. Exactly. Like, that's pretty brilliant. Pretty brilliant, girl. What's up, y'all?
Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, this is Hot Mic, the morning show with Billy and Sheba. And this is episode 1.
Yeah. How are you guys doing? So good to see you. So good to be back. So, what an auspicious sign for the world that Billy and Sheba are back, sharing our love and being and wisdom with the collective.
Yeah, good for you.
You're
Lucky
welcome.
for you. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
And so I'm Sheba.
I'm Billy.
And
this
fuck
is
Israel.
There we go. That too. Real talk. We might get into that. We should get into that.
Hot mic. We get into whatever needs to be moved through us.
Before we get into this stuff, actually, because we have a couple of topics, but since you said
this is the first episode.
It's so fucking crazy what's going on right now.
What the heck? It's crazy, and it's wild that I feel like the Matrix wants us to not talk about it, to not engage with it, especially as Black people. I think it wants us to be focused on very specific things, and if we're engaged in the world, it'll be in a Democrat, vote blue, Kamala Harris kind of way, not in a actual.
I think it's important to notice how deep the ideas about what is in bounds and out of bounds is set for us. You know what I'm saying? So speaking as a Black man, you can speak as a Black woman, but I'd say, white people have their own things too, but I worry about myself. I worry, I think about what my bounds are. I push against my bounds. So you're not going to tell me to not think about big things that are parts of what reality is. This Israel shit is insane. It's not just in Gaza. Our Congress, it's funny, we can accept things like AIPAC and how they operate. We can accept a Tufts student getting snatched off the streets for writing an op-ed journalism piece, an accurate op-ed journalism piece. And everyone just kind of moves on.
And it's crazy, especially to see, Israel is we think of the KKK kind of as the pinnacle of racism, and Israel is the KKK on steroids.
And
they run a society like that. They think of us Americans as their slaves, who just are here to labor in order to keep them doing whatever they want. And I'm just why are we accepting this?
The Likudniks, the Israel right-wingers, the people in government, in power, the mainstream, terrorists. They are aggressive, and they've been very clear about their goals.
Very clear.
And it's not
for
just
decades.
In the Middle East and the Sinai. It's in this country. It's about free speech. It's how, the man told, he said to Trump that he applauded, and he said we need to have more.
Exactly. Because that's
cracking down on student speech.
Because that's how their society, their terrorist, racist, fascist society is run. They just make it illegal to talk about the Nakba, make it illegal for them to take DNA tests. Because their illusion, their whole narrative, smoke and mirror grift relies on just narrative, a made up story, and they threatening everyone else to don't talk about it, don't talk about it.
It's wild.
What?
And a lot of people go, okay, I'll talk about it.
That's the crazy thing to me.
A lot of people.
Somebody tells me not to do something.
That's exactly.
I'm about to do it.
That's exactly what I'm looking at. I'm at the very least looking at it.
Exactly. I'm why?
Wait, what? Exactly. What's that about?
It's this big marked door that's don't come in, don't come in. It's you can do whatever you want, but don't even ask about that door.
Yeah, don't even ask.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go check the door.
Exactly.
I'm gonna have to go see what you're hiding.
Absolutely. I'm glad that we are of the same mind on that. That's
I know.
Life,
I know, baby. It's so
Yo, let's get into our topics, yo.
Yes, okay. What's to discuss this morning?
right, today we're looking at 3 topics. We're looking at the artistic expression of an artist named Thomas Price, a British black man, and this statue that he did in New York and some of the hubbub around it. The second topic we have is Diddy, the Diddy Parties, and the Diddy legal situation that's going on right now. Diddy in general, all of it. And then we saw Sinners, yo. We saw Sinners recently.
I know, everyone did. Like, all the black people. All the smart people, too.
Yeah.
And, so
really appreciate it. Good movie, yo. Good movie. And we're going to talk about
lots of lessons to learn.
Themes and things we saw, yeah. So, yo, let's start this off with the statue, okay?
The statue.
Let's look at...
So, you told me about this. I've been trying to, really protect my energy, so I have not been... I look at the darkness, but I don't stare, so I just see only a couple of things on Instagram, and I'm like, okay, back into my own energy to process.
Right. Yeah, check it out.
Yeah, what's up?
Fat, Black, and Ugly in Times Square is wild. Black and Ugly in Times Square is wild. Like, they really think they're joking.
This New York statue has ignited a massive debate online. And it's not just about the statue, it's about black women and beauty standards.
Like, she looks like me. You're showing how much you actually hate the normal, everyday black woman. That I have to be over the top and get my body done and get my face fixed.
A lot of people are mad at that statue in New York of the black woman because she's dressed in a t-shirt and probably some leggings or jeans. You all treated yourself how you wanted other people to treat you. That statue wouldn't be there right now. If y'all didn't think t-shirts and leggings were outfits, that statue wouldn't be there right now. If they see black women as pygmishas, that's what they're going to use to represent y'all.
Now, the statue was created by an artist who wanted to have some contrast between the 2 white male statues in Times Square. The statue stands about 12 feet tall and is depicting a black woman. Some of the sentiment that I've been seeing online is people are saying, look, this looks like your sister, this looks like your mom,
exactly.
This looks like your aunt. Now, the artist wanted to make sure that they were able to capture the everyday woman. Again, I'm Kenny James for Blavity. Drop me what your thoughts are in the comments. Fat, Black, and Ugly?
Okay.
Yeah.
Hold on, let's come back to wait, the Pete. Oh wow.
Exactly.
That's a different thing. So yeah. So here's the other statue.
Okay, a regular white man who's probably very racist.
Well, let me do a split screen real quick so we can see that. They mentioned 2 other statues, male statues. So that's one of them there.
A white man born in 1878 to 1942.
Yeah, I don't know anything about the guy, but
I think we know enough.
Tell me, what do you think about those responses you saw from people? Hold on, let me flip it.
Yeah, as someone who has a very prototypically, perfect black female form, it seems like the controversy is that they wanted me. They were mad that the artist didn't model it after my perfect form.
That's right.
But I think as somebody who does have the a form that I think they were hankering for, I'm not the only expression of black feminine beauty, and I thought she looked great. Yeah. I thought she looked amazing. And yeah, you're right. She looks like a lot of black women I know and love, and it's a reflection of our own internalized anti-blackness and misogynoir, colorism, anti-fatness that makes us see a black woman just existing, being normal, and being oh, that's not good enough to look at. That's not good enough to memorialize. We don't want people remembering that we what wore a t-shirt.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? These are not. These are made up things that we're supposed to be ashamed of just being. Come on.
I think it's it goes down to what you think art is about, what you think it should be, and a lot of the people who were watching, I didn't even click on some of the white commenters because they're bad. So Daily Wire, White Man, and shit. Exactly. I was don't even want to click on them, but I did click and watch. They think that it's supposed to be some, you have to have won a battle or been an amazing football player or something like that. Have some credentials, and that's what it's like. So and even if it's not, the models, especially women, models need to be, what is it?
Sexually attractive?
Sexually attractive, something what is it? That you're
aspirational.
Aspirational is the word I'm looking for. And I'm like, shut the fuck up.
Why wouldn't I aspire to be like her?
That's exactly. So first off, it's just dripping with all of your personal fucking stuff. Yes. You know what I mean? And some guy who was a general in the Southern Army or some shit. Like, I'm not excited about him. He's not someone that needs to be memorialized. I'm much more excited about this woman, whoever she is. Yes. And in fact, the fact that, like, and I'm going to click on a little bit more that shows like, the artist himself has to speak about it. It's supposed to be any woman, and you get to bring whatever she is. The assumptions you make about her are your own. You know what I'm saying? That's what art is, and that's what he did, and that's why he's winning no matter what.
Yes.
People are talking about it.
Absolutely. This is the point of art, and I love it. And yeah, like, people not mad at, like, statues of, like, football players, and I'm like, that's actually not, like, a useful skill. None of the issues in our world are solved by, like, a guy being able to play football well. And I think we are taught that, like, well, that's okay. That's something to make a statue out of. But, like, I think there's so much, like, more revolutionary potential in Black women existing publicly as themselves than someone else, like, throwing a football or doing a whatever.
I don't know, Shil. So, like, obviously, like, revolutionary potential, even that is your thing. You know, somebody who plays football, you know, people, they build up this whole thing in an industry and a culture and
we don't need
all this stuff that is interesting, and they get a statue in that arena, in that space. It's just like, you know, if I told you that the, like, roller derby, which has more women, let's say, you know, as a feminine thing, like, and they had a statue of a woman, this, like, champion roller derby person.
I would love that, but we don't think of women doing things as noteworthy or worthy to put in a statue. So we don't have that. So, like, a Black woman just existing publicly, just incites all this controversy.
Yeah.
And we struggle to understand, like, the value of a Black woman just, like, existing, not producing, not entertaining, not working for your, you know, affection and attention, just standing in her power.
They don't like everything about it, though. They don't like, let's go to his actual page real quick. I'll do a full screen or a split screen.
I love it that he, like, I'm seeing he's a sculptor, and he does other, you know, Black people. Oh, I love it. Just being regular. Love all this.
Yeah.
See, now if it was like this little Black boy in a suit, is that, like, because white people told us that suits are respectable.
That would
like,
be part of that. Is part of it.
That's what we want to see. A Black boy looking so clean shaven and in a suit.
There's another boy in a hoodie here, and I wonder. It's funny that, you know, the woman got the one into the New York Times. I'm sorry, Times Square. So I don't know what it would be like. Even this woman here. This is apparently. Hold on. There's a video that he has that shows it. Here we go. In Florence.
A kind of confidence in the courtyard of Museo. I love that. It's called A Kind of Confidence.
Yes, so.
I think that's perfect.
I wonder how people would react about this in New York.
The first time in 600 years that a contemporary female figure stands amongst the Renaissance giants of Florence, Italy's Central Square.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And, like, you know, that one woman who's like, are we being picnicias? Is that, I mean, what are you talking about? She's cast in gold, being herself, being unbothered, unconcerned with the gaze of others, and everyone's still like, beautiful.
I honestly think, and it's just, all of this stuff matters, like the gold versus the black, the weight, even the features, like there was a picture, Lizzo went to New York and took a picture in front of this, and people are enjoying it and mocking it because the resemblance, she's actually dressed exactly the same way. She had braids and the whole deal, Lizzo did. You take this bronze version, you take this girl with hair in a different way, it's not braided. Like, people, there's a deep dislike for black expression. Yeah. And the range of it. Yeah.
Colorism, featurism.
Yeah.
And it's like if it's the farther away it is from like these Eurocentric white ideals, the more like we're supposed to be ashamed and like, oh, what? How could we let white people see us like that? really is what's going on.
Even so, you're right about the Eurocentric ideals, but then there's a counter joint where there's a blacker the berry, sweeter the juice kind of deal, where we do express and love blackness and counterculture, but it still has it's like this black excellence. You still want the chiseled masculine man to look a certain way. You still want the woman to look a certain way. It isn't the fullness of the expression of blackness. You know, there's still a way that we police each other into being acceptable. And so a lot of women are pissed because, and I get it, a lot of women are like, yo, what's the big deal? Because the issue is a lot of the men that I've seen, a lot of black men they find it distasteful. One of the things guys are saying is it's kind of like the women. They're saying you are setting, again, if you think that art is aspirational, then you're setting the standard for what a black woman should be.
Yes.
And it's not even
herself.
There's no issue with that if that were true. If this
exactly
is what that means.
How is that a critique?
Especially also, this is an artist that's done several statues. You have to look at the full totality of his work. Let's see what he says here a little bit.
Times Square. Brighter Than the Stars is about trying to communicate those dreams and communicate those inner worlds that we have, and sometimes we misinterpret with one another.
Also, the artist is kind of wearing a similar outfit to what the black woman is wearing. Just because their bodies look different, we have a different view of it. That black woman is dressed like all the black women dressed like the statue.
Yeah,
actually.
Yeah.
Am I supposed to think, like, be embarrassed of them and think that they're shaming themselves?
We gotta add to the element in 2025 in the social media age. Just people want to say something. They want to just jump in and say some shit and be upset. Here's actually another joint he did in New York. Now I don't know how he's been able to land these incredible installations, and shout to him and kudos to him for all this attention he's building. But check this, the Man series. Somehow in Times Square, they shut down all of these billboards and created this visual spectacle. It says 6 sculpted male figures appear in front of stark black backgrounds, over 95 billboards, quietly coming to life with just subtle eye movements and facial expressions. I think it's powerful. I mean, I can't imagine, like, I'm from New York, so I've seen Times Square, all that stuff, to have it all black and
just
black
regular
men
too.
Just staring out.
And, like, I like that they're, like, very just normal. They're not like, you know, like, trying to be perceived, trying to be like, oh, I don't want people to think I'm this. Or they're just, like,
they're just doing their
expressionless.
Thing. And they're looking out. Existing. Yeah, blinking. And so, as you can see, all these fire emojis. Now, this is a different group. This is his Instagram versus, like, all the other social media stuff. So these are people who favor him. What's up?
What can we go to, like, the image of the black woman and what people on his social media are saying? Oh, I hate this so much. I missed an opportunity for image correction. What? Black women are already stereotyped like this. As what?
Exactly. They're just projecting things.
It's so sad. Yeah. And adds to our daily degradation. How?
Yeah.
It's so sad that like
so that's
being seen as we are, but also like as artists, you know, I think we have to understand that like you're not coming on my page and spreading your limiting, colonized, anti-black, misogynoir views on this.
Wow.
You know what I do? I write in my journal a lot. And I don't put like everything that comes to my head, all of my insecurities, all of my unresolved traumas. I don't put it on the, you know, social media comments of an artist's work. Yeah. When I'm triggered and I'm having a thing, I process it myself.
Yeah.
And like I would like my social media is a dictatorship. I block you when I want. I delete your comment. I'm curating a space. Of people who are here to celebrate me and support me and give me good vibes and good energy. So I would just be like, nope, X out.
So again, I think, you know, he's got a different thing. I think he appreciates, because even here, if I pull out, the first one we have now is I love this, I hate this. Like the hatred, all of it is part of it. The discussion, it's all going to help
art is supposed to, like spark emotion.
Let me say something real quick about this Man series, which I find interesting. So first off, these are regular men in the same way. Like, we don't see their full bodies. I'm sure some of them might be heavy set, perhaps obese. Others are not. They're so older.
Is it degrading them?
Average working class look like men. There's nothing.
I feel degraded?
I don't. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's a whole different thing, particularly the men who think that the women have been degraded on the other thing. With this, I look at these men and I project the best onto them. I see good men.
Yes.
Who, some of them look a little older and tired. Maybe they've been through stuff. You know what I'm saying? Weathered through life and probably full of wisdom. And I see the same thing with the woman, but unfortunately, some cats won't do that. They'll see that here, and with the women, they see all the negative things that they want.
And if anything, I actually see a bunch of unsmiling, stern-looking black men, and I feel triggered. I've been harmed and screamed at and, maligned and seen other women mistreated by men who give me this vibe. But because, like, we're taught to center black men, we all have to, like, I can't hate this, right? Like, so that's people will be like, oh, right, she's got something going on.
That would be exactly. It is your experience and trigger and projection.
I have an experience, a violent experience, and that I've seen lots of other women have experience with black men who generally look like stern, unsmiling black men, disembodied black men. Whereas
disembodied black men,
like no bodies.
In real life, I'm just saying, you were talking about
so
the
funny
experience. I'm like, what the hell?
So funny. Well, I'm not like staring at a man's like body when they're screaming at me. I'm screaming. I'm looking at their face. But also, yeah, towering over me, kind of this like God figure, like all watching me, like as a black woman who grew up being like watched and menaced by a large, like all powerful black man who you like couldn't question.
Talking about your father.
Yes.
Okay.
And so like when I see this, I have all of these emotions, but you know what I don't do? I don't go on this artist thing and spew it. But I like to see how people are very comfortable spewing their mixed emotions onto a black woman who I bet we have less experiences of a black woman being like physically violent to us than a black woman who looks like this woman doing anything to us but braiding our hair, being our friend, being our mother, being our coworker. And so.
Yeah. To me, it's just everybody projecting their shit, and we gotta kind of like fall back, particularly in the art space. We gotta kind of notice ourselves and kind of experience the whole thing, experience ourselves as part of the thing, and not say everything that I'm feeling is the fault of the sculptor who did this amazing piece of art. Because again, no,
none of it is the fault of the sculptor.
Exactly.
He's done nothing.
He's done nothing wrong except help
us see ourselves
from whatever the original material was. Create this thing. He's got a story to tell. It is interesting, but we're doing the whole thing. Because look again.
Exactly.
Again, all the people love this. They see strength and masculinity and black power. That's also here.
If anything, she looks more. She's younger. She looks healthy. She looks confident. She looks unbothered.
Yeah.
Why on earth?
Exactly.
And so I think too, yeah.
That's
I
it.
feel like we're getting on to the next topic, which is kind of perfect because I feel like we're taught to, black women, we critique them. Whatever they're doing, good or bad or neutral, we critique it and we see it as a bad, harmful thing. And black men, we kind of let them do what they want, and we hype up all of the good things, and that's how we get Diddy.
Sometimes we do that, yes, especially when cats have money. Let's get into the second topic.
I'm like that's why I'm like, yes, it's about money, but also again, as I said, like these are like my experience is not with black men with like a lot of money, but and it's not just, in these wealthy black spaces do we allow black men or people with money to do whatever they want, like white people have taught us. But we also do it within our own communities, within our own homes, within our own churches, our organizations, our workplaces.
There is a root problem about like ceding authority, period. And when we do seat authority, we do it. We've been trained into it. There's the patriarchy in the religions, and in a capitalist system, patriarchy is coupled with, class and business owner type thing. All this
colonialism
and Diddy for sure had us going. I grew up thinking Diddy was this amazing entrepreneur. He made it cool. A mogul. He was in music and parties, and he was a millionaire who just got tipsy a lot, was around beautiful women all the time. Who wouldn't want to be Diddy?
So good and tasty.
Hold on, let me go to the split screen real quick. That's the sound of it.
I love it.
All right, so here we go. Key moments from the second week of the Diddy Combs. This is from like a week ago. No, this is from yesterday. A dozen witnesses came out. Kid Cudi took the stand.
I also note about Diddy, R. Kelly, what's his name? Tory Lanez, Cosby. It's all women who speak up and who are like, no more. This is not okay. And these men are allowed to operate with impunity for so long, for decades, because in large part, a lot of men hold a code of silence that, hey, whatever this almost Freudian slip, but this white man, this man in a position of authority wants to do, this man with the money, you do it. And like, so the women understand, like, there's no one, none of these men are gonna do the right thing. Oh, I was also thinking of that. There's this French woman who she discovered, like, her husband for like a decade.
This story is crazy, y'all.
Getting all of the neighbor men, like dentists, plumbers, just the men, had a group text where the husband would drug his wife and then invite men over to R-word her. And so she only found out after decades, not because one of the men were like, oh my God, this is horrible, but because she got a bunch of STDs and she was like, what is going on?
Listen, let's go to this real quick. Dozens of men are found guilty in a mass rape case of French woman drugged by her husband. A French panel of judges found dozens of men guilty of raping a woman whose then husband had drugged her unconscious over the course of a decade, y'all.
Dozens of men. So like 50 men?
The court sentenced
51 men.
The court sentenced the husband to a maximum 20 years of imprisonment. Guilty of aggravated rapes, plural. Bro, a total of 51 men stood trial over the course of 10 years. He would drug her and invite dudes over, and they would do these acts with her, and then the next day or weeks, like, they're living around her, right? They're like people that they know, and they just kind of kept this quiet secret. And like, that's crazy.
Women are not doing that. Women are not in group chats with all of the neighbors in the area, like your hairdresser, the people who serve you food, your teachers. They're not plotting how to drug and rape their husbands.
Thankfully, most men are not doing that. And I'm not doing the most men thing. I'm saying here, when you say, like...
I say most men are will either take part in it, or they will not say anything about it. That's how Diddy was able to operate for so long. That's how these men were able... None of the men confessed. None of the men around them confessed. It's always the women. It's always the victims. And then when the victims come forward, they're like, why didn't you say anything? Why didn't any of these dudes say anything?
What's crazy, too, with the Cassie thing, people are going hard at her that why didn't she say anything? Why did she keep going back and all this stuff? Cass don't realize that Diddy, first off, he's known, like, people are unsure of how he's out of jail all this time.
He blew up Kid Cudi's car, didn't he?
Blew up several cars.
Isn't he friends with Suge Knight?
A bunch of people. Like, Shine, I think, took a bid for him. He's been around all this stuff, like, and in the video you saw he tossed her around at that hotel in that one video.
Also, like, people...
So the point is, like, Cass, you don't speak up for nothing.
And like, same people who would not ask their boss for a raise.
Exactly.
Who would not speak up to the racist in their neighborhood.
Exactly.
You really think you would say anything to a rich man? Please.
Exactly.
Please.
The way this
we just haven't been trained to do that.
Works, yo. The way this thing works is crazy. Like, Cass will just allow anything to happen as long as there's some sort of agreement, and they're in the in group, and they continue to be invited, and there's some benefits, whether it's monetary or otherwise.
Which is
or
so
just
funny.
Being a straggler along.
Which is actually a very receptive, feminine quality that we've been taught to see as masculine now. Like hanging on to a rich man, doing whatever some rich man tells you, is actually what Black men are taught. That like money.
Wait. Everybody's taught that.
Everyone's taught that, but women were taught to, be receptive and useful to men, but so have men. And so
absolutely, absolutely.
Have you seen
the
a man
stuff?
Around a rich man? Ooh, it's all hey boss, hey, hey, trying to impress and
But that's what you see that's why it's important. And I know sometimes we're speaking in specifics. So you're speaking about and to Black men and Black women in particular. But you see how these people acting like Elon Musk or Donald Trump or these other people.
I've seen how Black men act around these people.
And if you ask someone a political question about something related to Elon Musk, they kind of concede, well, it's out of my price range. He's a billionaire, so he clearly knows more. It's things like this. That's all nonsense. And then the entourages and the people, the hangers-on. If it's a woman, if it's a woman and she's giving up some pom-pom, if it's the girlfriend, if she's
giving some value, if she's actually giving a
having sex with
thing.
the guy, she's a gold digger or slut or something worse. But the dudes is never nothing, yo.
And
it's never nothing.
She's at least sucking dick. Like, what are y'all doing?
What are you doing? What is your value, sir? Nah, this Diddy thing is wild, and the support for Diddy is wild to me.
You sent me a thing. I think it was 50 Cent posted a thing about how Diddy's team paid people $20
$20.
Which
to stand outside the courtroom with a free Diddy t-shirt.
Which does 50 Cent have money? Does 50 Cent have $20? Wouldn't this be a great time for other Black men who have money, who are in this circle, who are trying to distance themselves, to pay people to be on Cassie's side against Diddy? Or are we not allowed to be against Black men, no matter what they do? And if all the Black men who we have to rally behind them.
I'm seeing too this, there's the free Diddy stuff where people are doing it for $20, right? And then there's the free Diddy stuff where people just
for free.
There's so much shitty stuff and illegality and criminality and monstrous immorality all around us that Diddy becomes somehow. How does Diddy become the guy that we say that all of the worst things are on him? And it's not that he's clearly done some stuff, but he's the one who ends up in front of a judge when you have all this other stuff,
Yeah, he's he's been the aspiration. He was the standard, and we've told ourselves that when someone has a lot of money, they can do whatever they want. We joked about it for a long time, about how crazy he is. But that is just what we've told ourselves, that when you make money, you can do whatever you want, and no one can say anything about your behavior or how you treat people or how you've made your money. And
that's the setup.
That's just how we all have to. And I'm and so I see that a lot of this pushback to Cassie and all the people who've opposed Black men who've done these terrible things, and probably the statue too is. We're taught Black women are not supposed to be seen. We're not supposed to mess up a man's money. We are here to serve. We are here to be the mothers. We are here to, make it so Black men can go and do whatever they want. Go and make your money and do whatever you want. And we're always here to, and now Black women are just no, actually, I'm going to exist. I have just as much right to take up space, and I will. And so lots of people in the Black community, men and women, are going to have to heal their traumas, their epigenetic traumas around seeing Black women speaking their truth and demanding better treatment and rejecting subpar treatment.
Yeah, I think that's all in there, yo. Applause for that. I think that's all in there. People don't. Hey.
Also, look at this body, though.
Hot mic.
Are you kidding?
So good and tasty.
Model X. And
My baby.
I feel like this camera is is kind of like not doing me. Maybe it's this dress is like not giving you even full fucking effect. I see myself naked like all the time, so I'm just like,
real life is better.
I'm like, what am I covering myself in this shroud, in this muumuu?
Perfect. Real life is better, y'all. But where were we? Fucking
yeah. So we're not used to seeing Black women existing, not making ourselves small and skinny and pleasurable and consumable to men or white people.
What I see is over and over now. You mentioned a few people, whether it's Cosby or Tory Lanez or P. Diddy or these other people, like the Tory Lanez case as well. You know, people really go hard for Tory.
R. Kelly, you're right.
R. Kelly, people really don't like Megan. They feel like she ruined his life. People are saying that Cassie's attempting to ruin a man's life.
And it's like, how does a man ruin his life? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, no. So I think in the Black community, but also men, you know, all of us, but this victim complex. I don't ruin my own life by R-wording a bunch of people, cheating, stealing, threatening, murdering, abusing. I didn't do that. The victim who told on me, they ruined my life.
Yeah.
See, that's why
it's storytelling. It's the same thing we just finished the other segment with the woman with the statue. It's like you look at the thing, people project. So I think a lot of times in the Black community, the men have big microphones. Women have microphones too. Black women have voices for sure, but men still carry the ability to like set the beginnings of the discourse. So we look at Diddy and we see ourselves. We see this like success figure who is being
not the R-wordist.
Yeah, most of us do not see that in ourselves, right? Because most of us are not that.
I don't know if we would say that. I think many Black people, but many men, many people have been taught though that like if a man has money, he can do whatever he wants. There's no such thing as R-wording.
So that's the difficult. So there is such a thing. We gonna get into this? Yeah, let's get into this hot mic, yo. Let's get into hot mic, yo. Let me be perfect.
What did Donald Trump say before his first election? When you're rich, you can just grab women by the pussy.
Yeah, and there's a thing with consent, right? This consent is at the root of it, but there's this concept
lack of consent. We're taught that having money is the consent. If a man has money, he's allowed to.
Right. Of course.
And the women are like kind of gold dinging assholes if they try to sue or try to get this man in trouble.
I know exactly.
Yeah.
Look, what I'm saying is the dudes don't. They look at Diddy and they're not taking in the full. Like cats say, yo, all he was a freaky nigga. He was just out here having fun.
Yeah, only the good things.
The women came in and were paid for the things, and they come up with this thing that is
logic to.
And the truth is, it is possible to have wild parties with people who are all consenting.
We've been to a lot of them. This year alone, we've been to a lot of sexy wild parties where everyone is consenting.
Where everyone's consenting and everybody's there. I don't understand exactly why he wasn't able to just pull that off. I don't understand why that wasn't.
Because it's not about the fun and pleasure. It's about the control and domination and fear and the ability to exploit and manipulate people who have less money than you.
Yeah.
Literally. Like that must be the only thing. That has
to be because I don't get it, because it's totally possible on a budget. This man's a multimillionaire and a famous motherfucker. Yo, he could pull off a great party.
Yes.
With all the freaky stuff, all the baby oil, yo. All the baby oil. And everybody wanted to be there. It was possible. So I don't understand. So that's what Cass is saying. So then what they're saying, the feeling is then that people wanted to be there. People were paid to be there. People were there. People had fun. People showed up, then felt bad or felt difficult, then came back. And even Cassie with potentially making money, with some hush money or something, and then didn't she just have a period of like a payment from Puff, and then
she had sued him in civil court and they settled it, but that opened the door for the feds to get an investigation into his federal sex trafficking stuff.
Yeah,
so the only reason that like we're learning about his larger, criminality is because a woman was like, enough.
Yeah.
Not okay. I can't see what their...
Gigi's House of Wellness says, I'm from the West Coast. In the 90s, we did not like Puff. We knew he had something to do with Tupac's murder and the shooting in the club at J-Lo. He's never been a good person. Yo, his record is wild. Wow. The number of dead people around Diddy. Somebody did a little mini doc on YouTube I saw.
Wow.
There's at least like 4 people. Possibly much more than that. But that whole era was wild too.
And who is a close associate of Diddy, of course, Jeffrey Epstein.
All those circles, man.
So much has been unveiled about Hollywood and celebrity and politics and like how these wealthy people work. And it ain't pretty. And
that's why that's why I don't understand the free Diddy stuff. I don't understand the energy to go to the courtroom and to put on a t-shirt and to be excitedly in support of Diddy. I don't get it.
They're hoping that they get approved by Diddy. They're hoping to he's going to need bodyguards. He's going to need drivers. He's going to need an entourage. So they're trying to sidle up to this rich man.
That's wild
stuff.
That's
literally all that's happening.
That's wild stuff. Well, we're going to see how it continues. We might talk about it again in a future episode. But,
yeah, we absolutely are. Sorry, this has been a culture of silence for too many decades, and.
But again, as we close out, it really, to me, it follows up with the prior conversation where, time and time again, any of these men, and the accusations of the women, we don't want to accept women's voices and their claims. We don't want to support. We much rather.
We don't want to look at ourselves.
Yeah. I'm talking about a subsection of black men. There's also a large group of black men that I know that are with it, that are quite aware of these difficulties of these relationships and how men have to be above board and we have to, you know what I'm saying?
They're too quiet.
Well, Casa talk. A
lot of them. They're too quiet.
I know a few. I know a few for sure.
They need to start being louder, right? Because the ones who are loudest are the ones who are in the court supporting Diddy.
That's wild.
So
or having fun about it, like 50. You know what I'm saying?
Get over your exactly. This isn't a laughing matter. 50. You should be using your power and your money to combat this bad man. Otherwise, I think you like the drama. You like being able to be the guy who gets to kiki about the drama, but you're not doing anything.
That's his thing. That's so weird. 50. Let's get into 50 real quick. 50 he's in this weird gossipy hip hop urban gossipy thing. You know what I'm saying, with some of the street energy, and then at the same time he's on Rachel Ray and Good Morning America. You know what I'm saying, with a tweed
shucking and jiving,
tweed sweater and you know what I'm saying, talking about business moves. It's very interesting. 50's found a very interesting space for himself.
I think that's very that's the other standard for black men. It's this: you make an obscene amount of money and you don't use it to, restore the pipes in Flint. You don't use it to pay for children's lunches. You kiki about the other black men in your industry. And
there's a lot of gossip. There's a lot of the podcast scene right now is heavy on
gossipy men, and I'm these are just some feminine traits that we're until now. I don't think we've really been honest with ourselves about what we're actually cultivating in black men, and it's just very performative. Can you read that? I don't want to forget to read this comment.
The second one. They say he has a lot of bodies, and why would Nipsey? He has a lot of bodies, and why would Nipsey want to work with such a scum? But we see how that turned out.
You lay down with dogs, you get fleas. And we have to be more, certainly with the Zionists, the Jewish supremacy, Israel, all of this, celebrity culture is dead. We have to, we're on a new timeline. We're doing things differently. And you can't just work with bad people just because they make money, just because they say they can give you access to these rooms. You're supposed to turn it down. And if you don't, you are going to have a premature, preventable, untimely demise.
Yeah, so for you, at least make it very much more likely so. Or if not a demise, legal trouble.
That's a demise.
Moral challenges, you know what I'm saying?
General doom.
Affronts to your divinity and to your character. We got to talk that way. We got to use language that way, you know what I'm saying? To point to this, because cats don't point to this. in the music, in the culture, in different ways, we subdue ourselves to money, and we don't
just like, oh, the money is
access the fullness of like who we are in like this tradition of like masculine culture building and protection and love. You know what I'm saying? So it's there, but cats get quick. Like in the barbershops, you know, there's people who are louder, and then the people who get the record deals are louder, and they don't care about shit. They don't care about culture, and they don't care. They care about money and pussy and shit like this. And so that we have to build the counterculture. We have to be it.
And so I'm like, yeah, if there are these good black men who are doing the work and be louder. The bad ones are shouting you down, and they are taking your, quiet, being measured and not stepping into your power. They love that. The bad guys want black men to stay small and useful and safe.
And that's real. And it's like we said earlier, like when someone tells me don't go into that room, like I'm immediately looking at the room. I'm telling you, there is a concerted and active effort, funded, an arena built that is attempting to infantilize black men in particular, and to prevent us from being everything that we can be,
being
everything
fully human,
that we are,
being fully divine.
The acceptance of the fullness of who we are, like the fullness of the expression, all of the kinds of black men that they are. Yeah. So it actually comes up in multiple ways. It comes up in this sort of this idealized thing about being rich, where they hang this over our heads, where they tell us that this external achievement of a 6-figure income or a millionaire status, that is the marker for being a full man, and until you have that, you aren't. That's a lie.
Morally bankrupt.
And then so then that means that you have every decision needs to be
in service of
that.
Making your...
And it creates all kinds of weird things up and down for the people who achieve it, like a Diddy and all these like celebrity people, to the people who never achieve it, who deal with that and who do this grind kind of thing and develop identities that way. So I think it's a powerful thing, It's a lot going on, y'all.
Yeah.
And that's the let's applause that. Let's end the second.
Okay, I love it. So let's move on to Sinners, because I think it's a perfectly seamless transition because so
we got one more comment that says, I think Sean Combs is a hitman for the industry.
Oh, and one before that.
Let's be real, Hollywood is a cult. They all have secrets and sick fetishes. The music industry has violated so many.
Yes,
absolutely.
Literally.
It's wild.
I've really fully, that's been confirmed to me in the past year and a half, seeing how Israel and Zionism, seeing these artists say nothing as this horrific thing goes on. And going to these galas and their little award shows, in order to divert everyone's attention away from the actual bad stuff that's happening and that they're allowing.
I think one of the features, whatever we want to call it, we might call it different things. There are different people acting differently, but one of the features of our capitalist culture is the ability to separate things out. And to separate and completely compartmentalize. And you live here, so now you're a film writer, and you don't have a personal life. You don't have a politics. None of those things are relevant, pertinent. We all are going to meet. We don't talk. I worked in a journalism industry. I worked at the cable news network, and they don't talk politics in there. They don't. They don't. Just because if they did, they would have to quickly come to a realization about what's going on.
Are we the baddies?
Yeah, are we making things up? Whoa, are we selling narratives based on
It's like Severance, that show on Apple. I don't know if you've seen Severance, but it's you get this procedure done, and then you have an innie who only knows the office. You only know work. You don't remember anything about your outside life, your home life. And so it's a lot of people who are kind of avoiding trauma, or just trying a new thing, but trying to be efficient. But that's kind of what we have now. We're supposed to in the office, when we're making money, we have no morals, we have no history, we have no racism, politics don't exist, class doesn't exist.
Right.
New subscriber, yes, Gigi's House of Wellness. Gigi, also given the fire commentary.
Yeah,
I don't even really think Hollywood really has money. It's the illusion of the fame and money.
That's right. It's illusion. It's debt. It's a circle of debt that balloons, and then eventually it crashes, right? But then they also, we just saw the PPP loans. There's whole members of Congress and other private people who get PPP loans and then get those from the government, our taxpayers' dollar, and then they get those what is it, revoked? What's it called? Forgiven by the government. So while students are running around saddled with hundreds of thousands of dollars debt, already rich people can go and get their loans forgiven. I'm talking about like $500,000 some of these people are getting.
Yeah.
So it's a whole very interesting thing when you get into the meat of what's going on. And it verges on conspiracy in a bit, but it's not in the way that I don't think there's like a specific dark room. It's just like
they don't need it anymore.
They don't need it. It's
like
not
now they have like the internet, so they can just like.
It's a little craziness. Okay,
so
all right,
Sinners, the movie. Yes, great film by Ryan Coogler, and so much discussion that's been about it, from the content of the movie to how he structured the his ownership of it, how he did it differently than how these white Hollywood people have told us to. He owns all of the profits, all of the rights to it and stuff, rather than them giving him a portion of the
right.
Well, how did we accept that for so long? It's okay. But anyway, yes, Sinners.
Sinners, we'll do a bit of the trailer real quick.
Yeah, sure. Can we do that?
Yeah.
I don't know what the rules are.
Let's just do first 30 seconds. He was stressed out, yo.
Yeah. I also liked the Parent Trap, one person playing two characters.
Yeah,
I
did a good job. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, let's
love her.
I'll put
Also,
the down and just
you know what's interesting? Why does she look like the statue?
The statue, interesting. Yeah.
And I know people had some to say over how they didn't think she would be an appropriate way. Get over yourself.
It's the same thing.
Be real with yourself.
Some cats didn't like. Was it Smoke's wife or the other dude's wife?
I think it was Smoke.
I think it was Smoke's wife. The dark-skinned, beautiful, thick woman.
Magical
woman.
Who
was also magical, exactly.
Who kept this man alive through her belief and practices and work.
And it's kind of she should have been, she was miscast somehow. These are weird because, of course, Michael B. Jordan is seen as one of the heartthrobs in Hollywood, especially Black Hollywood. But in Hollywood, he's a heartthrob. And so the idea of what his equal should be on camera should be some kind of Megan Good character.
A Eurocentric kind of idea of what an ideal Black woman is. A small, skinny, light-skinned, wafty.
The second you're doing that, you got to notice you're doing that. You know what I mean? She's actually very pretty right
she
there.
Is.
You know what I'm saying? And
she's beautiful.
And there's so many stories about her. There's a beautiful story about them of survival and the child and all this stuff. And that is important. It's not I don't know.
Yeah.
One of the challenges too is sometimes I don't know how many people were actually saying that, right? You know what I mean?
Enough we that I heard about it, and
exactly.
I don't,
and we end up responding to this goofy group of clowns.
A lot of people said it.
A lot of people said it.
Yeah. And so that's the thing. Yeah. Another thing that I think relates to all the things we've been talking about. Okay, so when they're at the juke joint, it's going so well, they're having so much fun. Then the vampires, the white people, the vampires come to the door, and all of them, but especially Annie, who is Smoke's wife, they're I don't know. They give me the heebie-jeebies. These white people are strange. I don't they're not welcome here. So their intuition told them not to trust these people.
Don't trust them.
But then they checked their coffers. They checked their wallets, and they were like, oof. Having these sharecroppers, they don't have a lot of money, and so this is what we got from them, and we need a little bit more money. Maybe we should ask these white people and just get a little bit more money for us. So we're taught to override our intuition in pursuit of money. We're literally
are.
Exactly. And then once, the vampires were fully vampires and clear that they're we want you guys on our side. We are going to have to kill you, and you don't have a choice. But then everything's going to be beautiful and great and perfect. And isn't that what we're kind of taught? To don't think about your morals. Don't think about your connection to spirit and yourself and your power. These vampires, these white people, the power of money is always going to win. So don't even fight.
I think Ryan wrote that in intentionally. I think, that I like that element, that subtle thing there. And then also the whole not so subtle thing about like they couldn't walk into the doorway until they were invited.
They had to be invited in, yes.
And that's an old vampire thing. So he brought that into this movie. And I thought that was cool. But yeah, in both cases, it's like, they're cautionary tales in some ways. Like you have power. You are inviting things in. You are partnering with things, and I love the reference to the money thing. We have to navigate. Ryan Coogler doesn't have he's not ashamed of money. He's not angry at money or trying to run from money. He made money. He used his creative power, and he's like box office success. He went into that room and said, "I'm going to structure a deal differently. Like you guys came with your paperwork here. I've got a different plan. I wrote this. This is y'all are struggling for original content. Y'all are doing remakes all the time. Here's an original thing. And here are my terms. And that's something that we can do. That's something that everyone can do.
We can set the terms. We have the power.
All of the time.
We hold all the cards. But we're taught, no, we have to take exposure and this is how they've always done it. So like,
especially if you're an artist too, you don't even want to really have to negotiate things. You don't want that problem. You want to just make your art. But then there is this thing, and there is this other end of it that is yours, that is malleable, that is not real. It's all made up. It's all creative. Those contracts are just as creative as the creative work that you've done. Maybe not just as, but they're also creative.
Much less creative, but
they're also creative, and you are part of it.
Yeah, and I think the reason we've seen for decades in Hollywood and these predatory contracts that white people with money, older people have given to children. Yeah. Oftentimes they like. Hollywood's like their goal has been to find
and the music industry.
Young people and the music industry. I include them in Hollywood. Like finding young people who are poor and have something of value, but they don't know their full value. So like they try to convince these children that your best bet is to link up with this big guy who knows it and he has access and will put you on. And as long as you keep tap dancing and doing what this white man tells you, you'll be good. You'll be good and pretty. And like, oh, babes. And so this is even him being an artist, but he's a little older now. He's learned. He's evolving. He's not just accepting the same terms that he did, when he didn't know his worth.
That's the nature of it. That's when he first got in and did at Fruitvale Station, his first.
My nails also, by the way, they're hand painted, butterfly themed. I saw this like beautiful black and like iridescent blue butterfly outside, and like I think this is really my butterfly season. I like the idea that butterflies, like when they're caterpillars, they go into a cocoon, break down completely into goo. Their DNA is different from caterpillar and from butterfly. They are a completely different thing. They come out, they're this new thing, a butterfly, and then they don't just start flying. They like kind of, they flex their wings, they like do little, test flights, and they like learn. So that's what I'm giving for myself. I'm in my butterfly season, but I'm not just like, okay, I'm flapping, I'm flying now. Like I'm, easing in.
Testing it out, you're figuring it out, yo. Yeah. It's on your terms, B.
It is. It's all made up. I'm the one in charge. So yeah.
That was one of the powerful things for me. So that's a very feminine approach and story about butterflies. But I would say, like, even in my creative process, right? So
they're also boy butterflies.
When I was doing, and there are but even just the way you described it.
Yeah,
like, I'm feminine and I'm flying.
I'm just saying, like, there's feminine and masculine. So there's feminine and masculine in all of us, and I think men would benefit from embracing more of their feminine.
Absolutely, and that's why I'm gonna get there. But just to say that, like,
I had a butterfly analogy.
Butterfly.
But you have maybe a more masculine one.
In terms of like the being reborn and thinking about oneself differently and having a different identity and noticing that every moment, this moment is unique. This is your power. That everything whatever you call yourself now, you're under no obligation to be that tomorrow, or even a minute or 20 minutes from now.
Yes.
That you're that powerful and free, and it's really on your terms. So that was one of the things that I've learned. I guess I don't know. I've learned it through our marriage. I'm very good at setting a deadline and doing stuff. I have a very harsh inner clock and an inner voice that tells me to keep making it, keep growing, and make it happen and do the thing. Did you do the thing? Did you do it today? Did you are you getting soft? Are you off point? So you were like, and through watching you, and I remember I had one deadline on this cartoon that I created, and I was like, I'm gonna put this out on Monday. And I gave myself a hard deadline, and then I was stressing as it came through, and I had to draw, and I had to think things over, and things weren't working right. And you were like, yo, Billy, you this is your project. You set that deadline.
Yeah, what practically will happen if you don't meet this deadline?
Have me rethink.
Where did you come up with this deadline?
Yeah, exactly. And I think I set it on purpose to be difficult, because that's the kind of thing that I did regularly. Like, that's how I developed some of the skills that I have. But to know that, okay, you're good at that. Okay, so now I have the power to not do that.
Like,
that's a whole other power. That's actually brilliant. And it also provides all these other sort of mental health benefits.
Yes. And to merge with the butterfly analogy, what worked for you when you were a caterpillar?
There it is.
Being hard. Do it, caterpillar. Like, that's what you needed when you were a different thing than you are now.
Yeah.
You are a different version. You are completely different. So that was effective, but now what worked for when you were a caterpillar isn't going to work now when you have wings. It's not going to work. You got to be more gentle with yourself. Softness is a power when in your butterfly form.
Yeah, exactly. That's a powerful thing, and that's a powerful thing that I hope lots of men can understand. Too. But the society is so heavy, Sheebs. The society is so heavy. I know you.
So you got to be soft.
You go hard on men and what men go through and shit like this, but like men, our definitions of self, unless you go through the serious work of reclaiming yourself and learning to love yourself, the self-definition is deeply tied to achievement. And without the achievement, it seems that no one loves you. Without providing some value, it seems that no one cares about anything you have to say or wants to be around you. It seems that way. And I know it's not true, but you have to kind of push through and define yourself and become really build pride and identity around self. Without that, then you get to see that.
Yes.
It's a very strange thing. I think it's a spiritual process in a
Absolutely.
little bit more,
And Black men need to understand this, and also Black women who were also traumatized by slavery and forced to work and subject to vagrancy laws and told that if we haven't done anything, why are we valued? That's the point of the controversy around this statue. People are like, ew, what? We should be ashamed to just be, she's not wearing anything special. She's not wearing a suit. She hasn't done anything. Right. Because a Black person who hasn't done anything should be ashamed.
That's
right?
the thing, right?
We shouldn't want to admire.
Just being as you are, loving oneself as you are.
Yes.
That's not acceptable.
Yes.
That's not acceptable. What's your resume? How many letters do you have after your name? What degrees do you
have?
What have you done?
And that.
Who are you attached to? What's your network? What's your net worth? How many? All these things, we value those things, and it's like you can value those things, but then you have to detach. You have to love yourself either way. You have to love yourself in the process towards those things. You have to love yourself. Some people have those things and still don't love themselves.
Exactly. Look at Elon Musk. All the things we're told we're supposed to have, and still no one loves him. Wow. Still so insecure. Still so thirsty for people to think he's smart and good, and it's not working, babe. And so I think it's helpful for people who've been told to be hard and rigid and strong and intransigent and to fear fluidity and softness. It's important to lean into the things you've been taught to fear. And even, analogy of a building, a strong building that is going to go high has to be flexible. It has to have a flexible and sturdy, deep foundation. Otherwise, wind is going to hit it and it's going to break. When you are too rigid, you are brittle. You are easy to destroy. And so, when you are hard and rigid and you won't move, you're easy to destroy.
It's so obvious, right? That's true, and yet you don't know what you don't know. So if you grow up and you're 16 years old and you don't know,
and everyone's telling you
about the
hard.
flexibility of the human condition, and you don't know about the malleability of like concepts of gender and expression and all that stuff, and you also know that skirting tradition or being different in this way could get you harmed, like real talk, in some environments. It's a very hard thing, but for me, eventually when you get there, you realize you have so much love and patience for yourself. You realize how you contributed probably to someone else's harm when you were in that other space, how you let things go and you didn't, you know what I'm saying?
Not coming into your power
harms everyone. You are the arbiter of goodwill and love and justice and freedom, and you, through giving yourself freedom, accessing that, and then extending that desire and that hope to other people as well. So it's key to be flexible, but you got to know that, to be open. That's why I don't like, we talk about this so many episodes, that's why I don't like the no homo stuff. That's why I don't like the pause stuff.
Of course.
It is just a you are preoccupied with something. You are bringing something to something. You and your friends, like our friend group, we are reinforcing our sense of ourselves against something. We are creating a contrast. It's just like when white people, they were like, oh, we're white guys, only white, or something like this. You are saying your identity over and over several times a day. You are saying we perform straight man.
And that performance, because it's when they say it, it's always like, I love what this man does, or like this man did a good thing. It's like you're saying something positive to a man, and then you're like, no, I don't love him though. Like no homo.
What, the no homo?
No, no. And
it's worse than that even. It's like the dumbest stuff.
It is, and it's just affirming. It's programming the simulation that like you don't love black men. Any attempts at love when it comes to, and like I know we're not supposed to think of it this deep, but okay, then we should think of it this deep. Like I think a lot of the homosexuality, homophobia in the black community is related to this idea that black men are not deserving of love. Black men are not deserving of pleasure. Black men are not deserving of being thought of as sexy, as beautiful. Certainly not by other black men. So I think for women, like some of the people who love me, who give me a lot of love and intimacy, intimate conversations, loving touch, is not just Billy. It's also women. It's mostly women. Like mostly my friends are, like give me all of this stuff. And I think women, we as a people, society, we share the responsibility of loving women between women and men. But with men, we put all of the responsibility of loving men onto women. And when men express any kind of love for men, it has to be in a very specific way that we know it's not sexual, and we know it's like a very appropriate, very proper type of. And I'm like, no wonder y'all are so sad and lonely.
That's a really interesting way to put it too, because we already know, studies show men in general, and I'd say black men probably in particular, are starved for expressions of affection and physical touch and things like this. You say, oh, I don't need that. Yes, you do. You don't understand the depth of the human condition and what these experiences are doing to each of us, and what it means, how it builds us. It's just like a child who never got embraced.
They literally cannot develop.
It's a different thing. It's a harmful foundation.
They can't access their power. They can't communicate. They can't fully, they can't keep themselves safe because they were deprived this thing that lots of men are taught is just superfluous. I don't need it.
Yeah.
No.
And it's all based on like an assumption of masculine and feminine, these stories, these archetypes, these narratives. So that's why I love the work we've been doing, like breaking down a lot of shit like this.
Yeah.
And like,
we're just getting started.
Fuck it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yo, this is Hot Mic. Yo, is that our episode?
This is so good. I love it.
Let me go back to
my
our first
gosh.
screen.
If you made it to the end of this video.
You made it. You did it. Congratulations.
Would you drop let's see.
Make sure you like the video and then subscribe to the video and drop something in the comments.
Yeah, let's see. What is a thing that we can... Oh, drop a butterfly.
Drop a butterfly.
We're in our butterfly season now. We're in our butterfly season. If you made it to the end, drop a butterfly.
The butterfly emoji.
And, you know, let us know what your favorite thing from Sinners was.
Yeah. And let us know how you feel about the statue, yo.
Yeah. And whose side are you on? Diddy or humanity? Trick question.
Trick question.
All right.
All right, y'all.
Love you guys. We'll talk again soon. Fuck Israel. We got any other signing off messages?
And like, I'll see you in a week, yo.
And thank you to like me and you. Like, I'm so proud of us. We're so brave and we're so like, we just like are the people who like have an idea, have a dream, and we bring it into reality, and it's always better than
just do it. Just free yourself up. I'm so lucky to be myself and married to you. I appreciate it. I love you so much. This was episode 1 of Hot Mic. I'll see you in a week. We'll see you in a week. Peace.
Hot mic, hot mic, hot mic, hot mic, hot mic.
I had to turn the mic back on because she started singing. The mic was off there.
We need a closing thing. A hot mic.
I'm gonna work on a song. Peace.